In 1932, 1 in 4 Americans had no job, no unemployment check, no food assistance, no safety net of any kind. Just a pantry, a garden, and whatever they could figure out. A mother of 6 in rural Oklahoma stood at a wooden kitchen table with a bag of flour, a jar of lard, a pot of dried beans, and 6 hungry children waiting for supper. She made it work. Not because she was extraordinary, because every woman on her street knew how to do exactly the same thing. Number 8 on this list kept eggs fresh for 6 months without a single day of refrigeration. Number 5 turned kitchen scraps most people throw away into something that preserved food for an entire winter. And number 1 is the reason Depression-era families survived 2 consecutive years of failed crops, dried-up wells, and empty store shelves, while the average American household today has 3 days of food stored and no plan for day 4. That knowledge kept an entire generation alive through the worst economic collapse in American history, and it disappeared in a single lifetime. These are the 10 skills Depression-era families used to feed themselves through the worst years America has ever seen. Hit subscribe, and let's get into it. Number 10. Stretching flour. A nearly empty bag of flour sitting on a wooden kitchen shelf in 1932 was not a problem. It was 3 more days of meals, if you knew what you were doing. Biscuits in the morning, flour, lard, a pinch of salt, and a splash of water, pressed flat and baked in a cast-iron pan over a wood stove. Thin cornbread at noon if there was cornmeal to mix in, and for supper, flour browned dry in a hot pan, water added slowly, stirred until it thickened into a pale gravy poured over whatever was on the plate. Depression-era families called it poor man's gravy. It was on the table 3 nights a week in households across Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas from 1930 through 1936. Here is what modern grocery shopping looks like. The average American throws away 30 to 40% of the food they buy, not because they are hungry, because they forgot it was in the refrigerator. A 5-pound bag of flour cost 9 cents in 1932. A family of 6 ate from it for 4 days. Today, a bag of flour sits in the back of most American pantries for 8 months and gets thrown away when someone notices it expired. Number 9. Canning without a store-bought kit. Every August, before the first frost hit, the race began. Tomatoes came off the vine by the basketful. Green beans got snapped and blanched. Peaches were halved and packed tight. Corn was cut from the cob and ladled into jars. The wood stove ran all day, a large pot of boiling water on top, glass jars going in empty and coming out sealed with nothing but heat, timing, and lids that had been reused so many times the edges were worn smooth. No canning kit from the hardware store, no electric pressure canner, no YouTube tutorial, just a method that had been passed from mother to daughter for 3 generations and worked exactly the same way every time. A family with a productive garden and 1 full August afternoon could put up enough food in glass jars to last through March. That food sat on a wooden basement shelf and required no electricity, no refrigeration, and no monthly utility bill to stay good for an entire winter. The USDA published its first home canning guide in 1917. By 1932, it had been in print for 15 years and sat in nearly every farmhouse kitchen in America. Today, the most common use of a glass mason jar in America is a cocktail glass at a trendy restaurant.
Number 8. Preserving eggs without refrigeration. This is the one that sounds impossible until you understand how an eggshell actually works. An eggshell is not solid. It is covered in thousands of microscopic pores that allow air and bacteria to pass through slowly over time. That is what makes an egg go bad. Seal the pores, and the egg stays fresh for months. A farm wife in the 1930s kept a large clay storage pot in a cool corner of the cellar. In spring and early summer, when hens laid more eggs than the family could eat, she rubbed each egg carefully with a thin coat of mineral oil, the same mineral oil sold at any drugstore today for about $4, and packed them into the pot in a single layer. She pulled those same eggs out in January and February when hens had stopped laying entirely and fresh eggs were impossible to find. Either method kept eggs safe and edible for up to 6 months. No refrigerator, no electricity, no expiration date printed on a carton. Depression-era families never threw away an egg. They were too valuable and too easy to preserve. Today, Americans throw away approximately 1.5 billion eggs every year, most of them because the date printed on the carton passed, not because the egg actually went bad. Number 7. Cooking on a wood stove. There was no thermostat dial, no timer, no preheat notification, no error code blinking on a digital display. Just a cast iron stove with a firebox on the left, an oven in the middle, and a flat cooking surface on top, and a farm wife who knew exactly what each section could do and how to control all three at once. She knew the fire by feel. A hand held 6 inches above the cooking surface for 3 seconds told her the top was hot enough to fry. The same hand held inside the open oven door for 4 seconds told her it was ready for biscuits. She fed the firebox with hard wood split into pieces the size of her forearm and added more when the heat dropped. She banked the coals at night so the kitchen was warm again by morning. One stove, one fire, heated the kitchen, cooked every meal, boiled the water, and dried the wet boot set near the base on a cold morning. No electricity required, no gas line, no utility bill, no repairman to call when it stopped working, because it almost never stopped working. Today, 49% of American households report having no alternative cooking method if the power goes out. One ice storm, one downed line, 1 week without electricity, and half of America is eating cold food out of a can, if they remembered to buy a manual can opener. Number 7. Growing food in bad soil. From 1930 through 1936, the topsoil of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas turned to dust and blew east in clouds so thick they turned the sky brown at noon. Families who stayed and tried to grow food in what was left learned things about gardening under pressure that no modern gardening channel has ever come close to teaching. They composted everything. Kitchen scraps, wood ash, coffee grounds, and vegetable peelings went into a pile at the edge of the garden and broke down over winter into dark, rich material that went back into the cracked soil in spring. They mulched heavily with straw and dried grass to trap whatever moisture remained. They stopped planting what had always grown and started planting what could survive: cowpeas, sweet potatoes, sorghum, and amaranth, crops that could push roots through drought-hardened dirt and still produce food. A garden tended in cracked Oklahoma soil in 1934 by a family with no money for fertilizer, no irrigation system, and no rain for 6 weeks was not a hobby. It was the difference between eating and not eating. Today, the average American backyard grows grass, just grass, carefully watered, regularly fertilized, professionally mowed, and completely inedible. A Depression-era family would have had sweet potatoes in that ground by March and called the lawn a waste of perfectly good dirt.
Number 5. Making vinegar from scraps. Apple peels and cores went into a wide-mouthed ceramic jar. Water went in on top. A cloth went over the mouth. The jar went into a warm corner of the kitchen. 3 to 4 weeks later, it was vinegar. That is the entire process. No equipment, no special ingredients, no starter culture ordered online, just the peels and cores from fruit that had already been eaten, water from the well, and time. That vinegar preserved vegetables in crocks, cleaned wooden cutting boards and ceramic surfaces, treated minor skin infections, rinsed hair, and extended the shelf life of food stored in the root cellar. 1 jar of kitchen scraps replaced 4 or 5 products that a modern household buys separately and throws away half empty. Here's the part that should bother you. The average American kitchen throws away enough apple peels, vegetable scraps, and fruit cores every single week to make a full quart of vinegar. It goes into the trash without a second thought. A bottle of apple cider vinegar at the grocery store cost $4. The raw material for a gallon of it goes into an American trash can every 7 days. The only thing that changed between 1932 and now is that someone figured out how to charge us for it. Number 4. Rendering and reusing fat. On the back of every wood stove in rural America during the Depression sat a ceramic crock with a lid. Every time anything cooked, the fat that came off went into that crock. Nothing got poured down the drain, nothing got wiped off with a paper towel and thrown away. That crock of saved fat was one of the most valuable things in the kitchen. It went back into the pan for frying potatoes and eggs. It went into biscuit dough and pie crust and cornbread batter. Rubbed into the surface of leather work boots and left to dry overnight, it waterproofed them through a wet winter. It greased the runners of stuck drawers, the hinges of squeaking doors, and the axle of a wagon wheel that had gone dry. In an emergency, it filled a wick set in a tin and became a lamp. One ceramic crock sitting on the back of a wood stove did the job of 5 things a modern household buys separately: cooking oil, baking fat, leather conditioner, wood lubricant, and emergency lamp fuel. It cost nothing. It was made entirely from what a modern kitchen pours down the drain before breakfast. Number 3. Mending and repairing instead of replacing. A needle, a spool of thread, and a smooth river stone sitting beside a kerosene lamp at night was not a hobby. It was what kept a family clothed through years when a new work shirt cost more than a full day's wages. Socks got repaired over the smooth stone, new thread woven back and forth across the worn heel in tight rows until the patch was stronger than the original knit. Elbows and knees got patched with fabric cut from clothes too far gone to wear. Sheets that had worn thin in the middle got cut down the center, flipped so the strong outer edges became the sleeping surface, and restitched. Shoes got resoled with leather cut from an old belt, tacked into place with small nails tapped in with the back of a kitchen knife. Nothing got thrown away in a Depression-era household until there was truly nothing left of it. That almost never happened. Today, the average American throws away 81 pounds of clothing every year. A worn elbow on a sleeve, a popped seam, a hole in the heel of a sock, straight into the trash. Most of it could be fixed in under 20 minutes with a needle and thread that cost $3 at any drugstore. We stopped fixing things so gradually we never noticed we had forgotten how.
Number 2. Foraging along roadsides and field edges. The cloth bag over her arm was not for a walk, it was for dinner. Dandelion greens growing thick along the fence line, lamb's quarters at the edge of a plowed field, a plant most modern Americans spray with herbicide today that tastes like spinach, grows without being planted, and fed Depression-era families across the Midwest every spring. Wild onions pushing up through the grass before anything else had started to grow. Purslane sprawling across the bare dirt beside the garden path, loaded with more nutrients than most vegetables sold in a grocery store. Elderberries along the creek in August, black walnuts dropping from the trees in October. A family who knew their roadsides and field edges had free food available from March through November without planting a single seed or spending a single dollar. That knowledge did not come from a book. It came from a mother who learned it from her mother, who learned it from hers. It was passed down the same way every skill on this list was passed down, by watching, doing, and remembering. Today, most Americans cannot identify a single edible wild plant growing within 1 mile of their house. The food is still there. The knowledge is gone. Number 1. The resourcefulness mindset. She did not think about what she was missing. She thought about what she had and what she could make from it. A heel of stale bread went into a bowl of water and became a thickener for vegetable soup. A worn-out dress became a patch for work pants, then a cleaning rag, then strips of stuffing pushed into a worn cushion. Coffee grounds got used once, dried on the back of the stove, and used again in a weaker pot the next morning. Bacon fat went into the crock. Apple peels went into the vinegar jar. Vegetable scraps went into the compost pile and came back as garden soil. A Depression-era kitchen shelf lined with glass jars of preserved food, a ceramic crock, a cast iron pan, and a folded wool blanket.
That was not a philosophy. It was not a lifestyle trend. It was the only option available to an entire generation, and they mastered it so completely that it looked effortless from the outside. A 2024 survey found that the average American household throws away approximately $1,500 worth of food every year, not because they can't afford to keep it, because so much comes in through the front door that the bottom of the refrigerator never gets checked before the next trip to the store. The families who fed 6 children through the Great Depression on beans, flour, and a garden that barely grew in cracked, drought-stricken dirt would not recognize that as a problem. They would recognize it as everything they ever needed. We inherited the country they held together with almost nothing, and we forgot what it cost them to do it. Which of these skills do you still use today? Drop it in the comments.